Hi people, it's me, Anja, my pronouns all she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new video. Since June is LGBT Pride Month, I thought it would be fitting to make a part 15 to my favorite Sapphic books with Sapphic main characters. For those who don't know, Sapphic is an umbrella term for women-loving women, which includes non-binary people. So without any further ado, the first book on this list is called Bianca, Torre is Afraid of Everything. This story is a YA thriller following a young non-binary lesbian who is solving a murder mystery. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good and it's totally worth all the hype and so much more. Typically, whenever I start books that have a lot of hype surrounding them, half the time they don't live up to the hype, but this book absolutely did, and I'm so glad and I'm so excited to read the author's next middle grade book, which I believe comes out in the fall, in October or November or September or something like that, and it's called The Other Woods, and I'm so excited to read it because this book was absolutely so fantastic. First of all, Bianca's gender journey was so authentic and it felt so timely. The plot was so engaging and so intriguing. The mystery was so captivating. The Sapphic romance was so well paced and so lovely. I loved the friendship so much. The queer representation was iconic and top notch. This book is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. So without any further ado, with that said, I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called A Hunger of Thorns. This story is a YA fantasy following a young Sapphic main character who's looking for a missing best friend in a magical forest that nobody else seems to remember. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. First of all, the world building was so immersive and absolutely so magical that it hooked me in right away, and it kept me hooked from the beginning to the end. I'm not sure if there are sequels to this book, but I will definitely read them. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The Sapphic sexuality representation was so well done. The plot was absolutely so riveting. I just really enjoyed this book, and the story is absolutely so underrated, and I will gladly read more from this author in the future because they are so talented. Like, this book is absolutely so fantastic. I just really enjoyed like how the magic system worked. Like, it was so mysterious and absolutely so interesting. I don't know if anything of what I said made any sense, but overall this book was just really good, and with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called No Boy Summer. This story is a YA contemporary following a young bisexual main character who makes a pact with her sister to swear off boys for the summer, except she finds a loophole because she falls for a girl instead. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. Like, first of all, the writing was so immersive. The main character thinks the same way that I think, which made it like so relatable in a sense, and so immersive and so like easy to digest, if that makes any sense. The plot was so engaging. I loved the sister relationship so much because both of them were such well-developed, distinct characters. The Sapphic romance was so cute and it was so well done and absolutely so like well-paced. The plot was so engaging. I love this book so much because it was so easy to read and it was so good. It was such a good, like, happy, fluffy, feel-good type of story, which we love to see. So anyway, overall, this book was so fantastic and it was so well done. So with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Spin. This story is a YA fantasy retelling of Arachne, and I really enjoyed it. I always have to Google how to pronounce that before I promote this book, but anyway, this story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. First of all, the free verse format was so lyrical and it made the story so much more immersive than it already was. The plot was so engaging and so riveting. The world building was so well done and I understood everything that was happening so well. Sometimes, like, when I'm reading a free verse story, I don't fully understand what's happening because I feel like I have to like read between the lines, if that makes any sense. But with this story, like, everything made sense. The characters were so well developed and so distinct, like the childhood best friends to lovers romance, or I think it was at least best friends to lovers, But anyway, the romance was so cute and it was so well paced. I just really enjoyed it. This book is so fantastic and it's so underrated and it deserves so much more hype, which I know I say all the time on my channel, so the word underrated has definitely lost its meaning. But anyway, the point is, this book is so fantastic and it's so good, and I will gladly read more from this author in the future because they are absolutely so talented. So with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Unstoppable Bridget Bloom. This story is a YA contemporary following a young, pansexual, plus-size main character who is navigating friendship, love, and humility, and how to express yourself when the thing that has always defined you is not currently available. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but basically overall, I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was so well done and so well paced. The plot was so immersive and so intriguing from the beginning to the end. I loved the friendships so much because they felt so like wholesome and authentic. The romance was so cute and so well done. I loved the queer representation so much because it felt so like casual and normalized, and we loved to see it. The characters were also well developed and so distinct. Bridget is such a wonderful, lovely, like messy teenager, you know what I mean? And I love reading about messy teenagers because they are so like relatable and authentic and raw and honest. Anyway, this book is so good and it's so well done, and I just really enjoyed it because it's another one of those like fun, sapphic, feel-good, happy, good books, you know what I mean? So anyway, overall, with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Imogen, Obviously. This story is a YA contemporary following a young bisexual main character who is navigating identity and friendship. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so wonderful, and it's totally worth all of its hype and so much more. Like, this book is so fantastic and it absolutely deserves to be like seen and heard and discussed because it's so good. And I know that so many like young bisexual main characters in real life could probably resonate with Imogen as a character because like her journey of like questioning her sexuality and then like later confirming her sexuality, I know is like so real and authentic. But even aside from the wonderful queer representation, like all the friendships made so much sense, you know what I mean? And they each felt so authentic, both the healthy ones as well as the unhealthy ones. The plot was so engaging and so intriguing. The sapphic romance was so cute and so well paced. Literally, this book is so fantastic and it's so wonderful. And with that said, I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Slip. This story is a YA contemporary magical realism graphic novel following a young sapphic main character who's navigating a new romance, friendships, and her art coming to life. You know, typical teenage things. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. First of all, the illustrations were so pretty and absolutely so immersive. The plot was so engaging and so well done. The main character's relationship with her best friend felt so honest and so authentic. The sapphic romance was so well paced and absolutely so adorable and so cute. Literally, this book is so good and I just really enjoyed it. Whenever I start a new graphic novel, I'm always a little afraid that I'm going to enjoy the illustrations more than the actual story, but in this book, both were incorporated so well together, if that makes any sense. Literally, this book is so good and it deserves so much more hype. So with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The last book on this list, and certainly not the least, is called Ellie Engle Saves Herself. This story is a middle-grade urban fantasy following a young black sapphic main character who discovers that she has new powers to bring things back to life after an earthquake. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. First of all, the sapphic representation was so well done and it was absolutely so well paced, and I loved how the author used her new magical powers as an allegory for coming out. Like, that was so well done. The plot was so engaging and so intriguing. The characters were all so well developed and so distinct. The magical elements were so awesome and so lovely and literally made so much sense. The friendships were so great. This book is so fantastic and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I would say that I preferred this book to the author's previous YA books, and I really hope that they continue to write middle grade, because this book was so fantastic and it was so amazing, and I just really enjoyed it because it was so intriguing and interesting and absolutely so immersive. So anyway, with all of that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. So in conclusion, happy Pride Month. I hope that this video helped diversify your bookshelf. If you want some more recommendations, I have left in the description box below the playlist that I have created that has all of the Sapphic book recommendation videos that I have made in the past. So without any further ado, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the comment emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!